children don't have a choice as to what paradigm they are being treated in. So at the moment we treat children we treat everyone in Western medicine in a reductionist paradigm, that we're cut into little parts and we look at each part, and we don't do anything lower than the atomic level or the molecular level really in medicine. A lot of scientists and physicists don't really think about consciousness. They're starting to make inroads into that. People like Max Tegmark, who's a professor of physics, did a whole lecture on consciousness, but on the whole people don't really talk about it because physicists see that consciousness is something messy, it's something to do with biology. But really the black hole principle, the theory that I was talking about, which I call the black hole principle, is predicated on the idea that the universe is actually fundamentally consciousness. The same principle actually happens in our emotional life as well, and you and I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. John Demartini together. So he did a lot of work in looking at how emotions have any situation has a polarity, and he likened that to it being the matter and the antimatter. So what he helps people to do, and what I totally agree with as well, is that in any situation that antimatter and matter are actually always part of the same light, and it's almost like they're pretending to be separate, but ultimately they are in the eternal now, because when they split off it's like they have time and space and gravity and mass when they're separate, but when they come together in light, all of those qualities disappear and they become massless and chargeless and out of space and time. Love and light is normally used to cover up our shadow selves. There's a whole thing in the New Age, think positively, don't go into, people who don't want to go into their shadow, but that shadow will erupt because it's part of the balance of life. But the time I got this theory through, I was also shown this is just a small part of how the universe works. And the human mind will never ever understand the fullness of the universe. It's not meant to. We are made up of mind. If you want to call that the mind of God, like I alluded to in the strapline of my book, or whatever God is to you. But it's, God really is in the scientific sense like a universal mind. And I really mean in the scientific sense, because that's the scientific conclusion of some quantum physicists. We incarnate into ignorance of the infinity of who we are in order to have an experience and interact with other bits of God and other bits of the ultimate mind in order to explore and have an experience, because ultimately the Creator wants to know itself through us. One of the best ways to expand your consciousness is to resolve emotions, to bring that matter and antimatter together, because every time you go to that next level of light and do that inner work, it's not easy all the time. Sometimes it happens very quickly, but there will be a time when you are struggling with an issue and you have to really do some inner work. Every single part of you is a black hole at many, many different levels, bringing light in from infinity and creating your body, your matter and your antimatter self in every single moment.